Hi, I'm Taja, and welcome back to our YouTube channel, Army Ernst. Today I wanted to make a video of 13 plus things I wish I knew when my husband was in his basic training. So these are just little tips, hints, things I wish I would have been more aware of that I didn't find out until later on in the process. So the number one thing I want to recommend, if you're just starting the process or maybe you're in it, your soldier in training's gone, you don't know what to do, I would say find the general Facebook page for whatever fort they're training at. For example, my husband trained at Fort Leonard Wood in Missouri, so I just put in Fort Leonard Wood. It popped right up, and that's going to be just their main page. It's not going to necessarily post anything specific about your soldier in training, but it is going to kind of let you know what's going on the base. They'll post information, sometimes about the trainees, sometimes just general information, but it does help you feel kind of more connected and more in the loop with where they're at and what they're doing. Another Facebook page I'd recommend you finding is a general support page. It could either be spouses for soldiers in training. For me personally, I found a Facebook page for spouses and significant others that had soldiers in training through basic or AT specifically for Fort Leonard Wood, which I found was a great resource. Not only did they post tons of helpful things, if there was a question, I could post it there. There was tons of people who could help, give me information, point me in the right direction. And actually, I got a lot of the information I'm going to mention here just from those kind of Facebook groups and having them make me aware of things because I'm a new MilSpouse. So I had no idea the process, no idea what was going on. I was extremely overwhelmed. My husband suddenly gone for the first time. It was just a lot. So it's nice to have a support with people who know what you're going through, that you can ask specific questions about the base they're at, or even just general questions about like paperwork or what to expect next, or really anything, or just to make friends. So it was really nice and helpful. And then the third Facebook page I would recommend you finding is one specific for your soldier in training or your soldier's company. So this one is real nice because they will post things just specific to your soldier in training. So it might be pictures, it might be an update on what they're training or doing, it might be a special event going on. It's like a nice resource too. And then again, you can reach out in that group because it'll be people who are members that also have soldiers or soldiers in training in the same programs, in the same company, and it's a good resource to make friends or, just stay in touch, see what's going on, ask questions. So those three things I think are super helpful, 3 pages, and one of the first things you should do if you're just looking for like a where should I start spot. Get on Facebook, find some specific groups for you, get that support you need because you're going to need a lot of support. It is hard having your soldier in training gone, especially if it's the first time like it was for me. It was a huge shock just getting used to having my husband suddenly gone. We've been together, 6.5 years at this point when he left, and never, besides maybe a night here or there, spent any time apart during that time. So it was a lot. So that was a really good place to get those resources, a place to kind of get information, make friends, make connections, have all my questions asked. So that would be my number one starting point for you there is check out Facebook, check out your general base Facebook page. So Fort Leonard Wood, Fort whatever, whatever your their training base is. 2, find a support group, whether it's just a general spouses or people that have soldiers, or if it's a specific to your base, like soldiers that are training at this base, spouses, whatever it is, find a page like that. And 3, find their company page for real specific information. That's also a place too for us on Family Day, which I'll get into later. There was a change on Family Day, and they posted in the company page the morning of that the location of the ceremony for graduation had changed. So since I followed that company page, I knew exactly where to go once I was at Fort Leonard Wood. So that's also like the most up-to-date like information, because I also, when it was time for graduation stuff, they never mailed me anything about it. I just saw it on the Facebook page, and then obviously what my soldier in training was able to tell me at the time. So great resource for anything, especially changing information. That will be the most current, is your soldier in training's company page to get that information. I just want to add, keep in mind, every Facebook group you join might not be the Facebook group for you. The first one I had joined was like a MilSpouse page, just a general MilSpouse. And it was a lot of younger 18, 19-year olds, and nothing wrong with that, but that wasn't really my age group. So the topics, the conversation, it wasn't really what I was interested in. So I left that group and I found another one. So I just wanted to mention, if the first Facebook group you join, like you're not feeling the vibe or you're just not really relating to it, don't get discouraged. Leave that group. There's tons of groups on Facebook. You literally can just search like spouse, MilSpouse, support groups or soldier support groups, things like that, and you'll find one you like. But if the first one's not a good fit, don't just give up. Find a group that's good for you. And, it's okay that not every group is perfect for you or has the members you're looking for, because everyone has their own thing they're looking for, or their own needs, wants, information, social group. So, yeah, so don't be discouraged if your first group isn't the right group for you. It wasn't for me either. I had to play around till I found groups that I really felt like I was connecting with, getting the information I want. People were maybe my age in it, because I am a little older. I'm not like, I'm a new MilSpouse, but I'm not a young MilSpouse. So, just keep that in mind when you're looking for your Facebook support community. Number two, a big thing I wish I knew when my husband left for basic is that, and no one told me this, is that you won't get a paycheck right away. So normally you will get paid on the 1st and 15th of every month, unless that lands on a holiday or Sunday. Then usually they do the Friday before. Obviously each bank might be a little different, but that's what our bank does. It'll just be the Friday before a holiday or weekend. But no one told us, a recruiter, and so I didn't know. You won't probably get a check for the first month, maybe even longer. So he left the 15th, or the first, excuse me, the first rolled around, no check. I'm like, what's going on? I'm freaking out. Rent is due. As I had mentioned in my first video, I'm a stay-at-home mom, so I don't really have a source of income besides my husband. So when the rent was suddenly due and I had a little bit of money in the account, but not enough to cover rent, groceries, bills, gas for the car, etc. I was freaking out. And when your soldier in training is in basic, you can't just call them, you can't just email them. You get your one call on Sunday for 30 minutes, and you have to talk about everything you have to talk about. So it wasn't Sunday, it was a Friday, so at least I only had a couple days to wait, but still, it was stressful. So then my husband calls on his Sunday, tell him what's going on. He says he'll look into it. Well, it's another week before I hear back from him. And he says, they said it should kick in a next paycheck. So 15th rolls around, still we don't get paid. Nothing is in the bank account. So I'm freaking out. I'm like, what's going on here? Wait to Sunday. Husband calls, tells him, what the heck's going on? There's nothing in the account. He's not really sure. He thinks it's supposed to be set up. So to save the headache, the stress, the worry, so you probably won't get a paycheck the first month, probably in the second month, but even some people not right away. It really just depends. I don't know what. So when my husband left, before he left, they do all the paperwork for like your insurance. He brought in his bank statements for like direct deposit. So I was under the assumption, he had all that done. The first is going to roll around, boom, deposit. No, it takes a little bit of time to get everything kicked in. I actually had called the recruiter, just ask what's going on, and he recommended waiting 2 full pay periods, so about a month, before worrying if you're not getting deposits. So he said it took that amount of time just for the system to kind of catch up to your soldier in training and get them going and get the direct deposits going. So just so you know, and that was a shock to me, you probably won't get paid the first month. Usually then for us personally, so he left at the end of August, September, no pay. And then by October 1st, we did get the first check, which was a large check because all the back pay will be on your first check. So you don't have to worry, the money will come to you. It's just a matter of when they get the ball rolling and get it going. So his first check was big, and then also his check after that was kind of bigger than normal. And then by his third check, it kind of evened out. And then after that, the checks are a lot more consistent and how much it is. Also, in the first, when they first get there, they pull like a money advance out and put it on a card for the soldiers in training or soldiers, so they can buy things they need like shampoo, soaps, whatever they might need. So your first check, you will also see that there might be some missing, and it's not really missing. They just put that on a prepaid card, so soldiers have access to money right away because they need haircuts. Like every other week, my husband gets a haircut, especially in basic. Their grooming standards are much more strict, so they have to keep shorter hair. So that's another thing you might see that's a little like maybe weird, or you're like, what's going on here? So just so you know, because I was in shock, I was so stressed out, so upset with this pay situation. I did not know what was going on, and turns out it was just normal. And I wish I would have known going in because it would have saved me a lot of tears and a lot of stress and a lot of frustration if I would have just known, hey, wait a month, the money's coming. Tip number three, a couple weeks after your soldier leaves or soldier in training leaves for basic, you will get your kind of welcome packet in the mail. It took me about like 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks to get it. There wasn't a ton of information in it. It just had forms that my husband had filled out for our insurance. It had mine and my son's on it, and actually was missing my daughter. So my daughter didn't have like a signed insurance, like for the it's not just insurance, but it's for the DEERS program, which includes insurance. But it's also for like if you're going to be living on base, you want that done. To get your military ID, you're going to need that paperwork. Kids 10 and under don't need their own military ID, but they do need the paperwork still submitted and filled out. So my kids didn't need it, but she did need that paperwork to get her insurance going, with her TRICARE going. Eventually, we're going to live on base, so she's going to need that to be able to live on base, to go to school on base, all the things. So it's really important that you get this paperwork and you file it correctly. So when I first got mine, it took 3 weeks. But I was stressed out because my daughter's paperwork wasn't in there. And again, you have to wait till Sunday, talk to your soldier in training, try to figure it out. He didn't know what was going on because he thought he filled everything out before he even left. It turns out it was like issue on Fort Leonard Wood. Whoever did his intake paperwork messed up something and didn't include her. But for me, it was a headache and lots of stress, lots of tears, because I was like, what's going on? My daughter needs to live on base with us. Like, obviously, our kids need to be there with us. I can't go live on base and my daughter can't be there. So I was stressing out. More probably than I needed to, but it's a real emotional, stressful time. You don't know, for me personally, I know what was going on. I was new to it. No one we know is really in the military, so this was a first time experience. I had no one really to talk to. I did post about it in the Facebook groups, and people were kind of helpful, but I didn't 100% get the information I needed. So, like I was saying, it took about 3 weeks for me to get the welcome packet with all my information for my DEERS and for my military ID. When you get your packet too, you'll open it up. They'll send you to a website where you make an appointment, and you have like, I want to say 30 or 60 days, something like that. Sorry, I can't remember off the top of my head. But anyway, to set up an appointment and get your military ID done. So I just wanted to give you a little hint with that. So I went on the website. Everything was saying no appointments available, or it was already booked up. The only appointment I could get was about 2 hours away, and I was like stressing out. It didn't land on a day that worked, but it was the only available day. So a little hint or tip for you: if you're in a situation you can't get an appointment, it's saying none are available or they're all booked out, or if it's just like a ridiculously long drive away, you can call your soldier in training's recruiter. They actually have a different access to that website. So two different things. One, I was told if you check on the first of the month, the schedule resets that day. So you will have a greater chance at the beginning of the month or the first of the month to get an appointment. So a lot of the times, let's say you're in October and it's middle of October, it won't let you book into November until November 1st. But once November 1st hits, November will all open up. So that's why you're seeing a lot of times on that site that, oh, there's no available appointments or they're all booked. They're not really, they just reopen up on the 1st. That's just something, I don't know why, but that's just something the computer program does on that website. So an option is to call your soldier in training's recruiter. They have different access to that website, and he was actually able to get me an appointment about 45 minutes away instead of 2 hours away, and significantly sooner than what the original appointment I was able to make on the website was, which was very good for me because I was really stressed out trying to get my daughter added to our DEERS paperwork, because I was having a hard time communicating with my husband at the time in basic. He didn't fully know what was going on. He also didn't have a lot of opportunity to go look into it because, during the day they get up, they're running around, they're doing their trainings. It's a very strict, especially in basic. They don't have a lot of free time or downtime. So it wasn't really something he could just be like, hey, I gotta go do this. Like he could tell people, but he had to wait till they had an opportunity, or he had an opportunity to go and have free time to do it, because he couldn't miss out on a lot of his training because they're mandatory to graduate. So it's not like he could just go right away and take care of it. So for me, it was really stressful. I have a lot of anxiety, so I was like stressing out about this, a lot of sleepless nights, tossing and turning, worrying about it. But yeah, you can talk to the recruiter. They can usually get you a little bit better appointment, a little closer, maybe a little sooner, and then you can go and get your military ID. So I had to go to Green Bay. It's, like I said, about 45 minutes away. The actual appointment was like 10 minutes, so I had to drive about an hour there, 10-minute appointment, hour back, which was a little annoying, but I was glad to at least do that instead of the 2 hours, because that was bringing me closer to the Chicago area, which is in Illinois. So this is Wisconsin, Chicago, and Illinois are down here. So it wanted me to drive all the way down, where this I could just drive slightly north for 45 minutes and get my appointment, get someone in front of me that I could talk to about the DEERS situation I was having with my daughter. Okay, so at my DEERS appointment, I was able to bring in, because they do ask you to bring in like your photo ID and like social security card, things like that, your normal like personal paperwork. So I actually was able to add my daughter to our DEERS account. I brought in her birth certificate, like my husband, my marriage certificate. I don't know why the first time it was an issue, but I just wanted to make sure that it's like, hey, this is our kid. So I wanted to make sure I had all the paperwork I needed so I could get it updated. So yeah, her birth certificate, her social security card, our marriage certificate, like mine, my son's social security card and birth certificate, my birth certificate. Like I just brought all the paperwork I had, my ID, things like that, so I could try to update it. And it did work. So like I said, it was like a 10-minute appointment. You go in, they really didn't say much to me. I sat at a desk. They typed in the computer, they read over like, is this your address? Is this your name? Is this your information? Things like that. Is this your husband? Or you're like your soldier, which is my husband. So I confirmed all my information. I told them my daughter wasn't in there. I gave them her paperwork, like birth certificate, things like that. They added her into the computer, and I just had to sign and got my picture taken. They print your ID on the spot, so you get to take it with you right away. And then I left. So it was really easy. All the stress and anxiety I had was taken care of at that appointment. Coincidentally, while I was at that appointment during that week, my husband also had an appointment at Fort Leonard Wood finally to update and add her to the DEERS account. But by the time he got in there, I'd actually already added the paperwork, because when I was in my DEERS meeting, like to get my military ID, meeting, they actually like scanned the paperwork right into their system. So they had like scanned copies saved onto the computer. So by the time he went and finally got to his appointment weeks later, because this was a few weeks later, all the information was in there. So I do appreciate, that he was finally able to take care of it. But if you're worried, or your name is wrong, or your number, your information is wrong, if someone isn't added who's supposed to be, or you need to change any type of thing, and your husband or your wife or whoever your soldier is, if they're having, or soldier and trainer, if they're having a hard time or finding time to get to the office on base because they're busy with their training, just know when you go in for your military ID appointment, a lot of that stuff you can update yourself as long as you have the paperwork. So once I did that, I felt 5,000 times better. That was so much stress and anxiety that I was having that was just alleviated. Looking back, like obviously the Army wasn't going to just leave us hanging. We would have got it figured out. But at that time, it felt really important and it felt really stressful. And like I said, you don't really get to talk to your soldier or soldier in training very much. So it's just really stressful, and just like the unknown, the newness, the anxiety to go with it. So yeah, if you're having issues with that, um, you can always try to update it at your military ID appointment. It will probably be good to go as long as you have the paperwork. If that doesn't work, or you can't, or for some reason update on your end, your soldier in training can request on their end to go down and set up an appointment to update or change or do whatever they need to do. And they will get time, it just won't be right away. It'll just take some time until they have an opening to go and do it, but they will let them on there and take care of it eventually. But it is a little bit easier if you can just go into your appointment and take care of it yourself. So I just wanted people to know that was an option if that's something you're worried about or struggling with. Try to take care of it at your military ID meeting because they should be able to help you out and update your information there. Tip number 4, the Sandbox app. You might have heard about it, you might not have yet. So the Sandbox app is a letter writing app. It's not actually owned by the Army, it's a third party who owns it, but they partner with the military, probably all the branches, but specifically I worked with the Army. My husband's in the Army, so they work with the Army to partner up, and what they do is you download the app on your phone, your computer, wherever you want, you type up a letter, you can attach a picture or a picture collage, which is nice, and then you pay them, and it's like $3 or $4, like a letter roughly. It might be a little cheaper if you buy like a bigger package, but I bought like the 2 or 3 letter packages for like, $20 or something like that, or $15. I don't remember exactly, but so the point is you buy credits to send the letters that you type on like your phone, tablet, computer, whatever it might be. And then their guarantee is within 24 hours, it'll be delivered to your soldier in training on the base. So I just wanted to talk about it a little. Some people love the Sandbox app, some people hate it. I was like, about it. I felt like it was kind of overpriced personally because you can buy a 50-cent stamp or 55-cent stamp and mail a letter that way. It is a little deceiving because they say it's 24-hour delivery, so like next day delivery usually, which isn't 100% true. So what happens is they do deliver it to Fort Leonard Wood in that time frame, but that doesn't actually mean your soldier in training or soldier will receive the letter that fast because it goes to Fort Leonard Wood, it goes to their mailroom, and it's marked delivered on your, but it's not. It's just sitting in the mailroom. From there, it gets sorted to each company, and then it goes to their mailroom, and it might sit there for a day or two until the drill sergeant decides to do his mail call or her mail call. And that might be the same day, might be the next day. It really just depends what their schedule's like. So even though I'll say delivered, it might actually be still a few days before your soldier or soldier in training receives their Sandbox letter. So for me personally, I only use Sandbox when I want to send a picture to my husband of like the kids or me or something that was going on in our life, to keep him in the loop or, just to cheer him up. Because for $3, $4, I was like, and you have a limit. I want to say it's like 6,000 characters, which is a good amount. Don't get me wrong, but it is limited, like the size of the letter you can send. Normally, what I do is I just go to the post office, spend whatever $11, and get a book of stamps, and I can send like 15 or 20 letters for the same price. I honestly didn't think that it took much longer, maybe a day or two longer to get the letter to my husband because again it goes and sits in all the different mail rooms at in our case Fort Leonard Wood, but whatever fort you guys are at or your soldiers are at. So I don't know, for me it just personally didn't feel worth paying the extra to send the letter there to sit there. Other people might have different opinions though. Maybe some people really loved it, so if that's the case, you really super loved it, let me know in the comments why you loved it so much. Maybe I was missing something or not getting something. I did see a cool thing on it was though you could send them like newsletters or like cards, like birthday cards, things like that through there. So that is an option. Not exactly sure how much the stuff was. That like I said, I really didn't use the app very much, but it is on there for like options of things you want to send. So at least check it out. You'll probably get a text. What happened with me is my husband, after he left reception, so reception's about a week, I got a text shortly after saying, hey, your soldier wants you to join the Sandbox app. So you click it, you download it, and then all the information, it's really self-explanatory. All the information is right there for you. I will say one thing that was cool about the Sandbox app is if you didn't know your soldier in training's information, like their company, things like that, if they linked their account with yours, which if they send that text saying, hey, join this, you are able to actually see their address. So what's important about that is their address is actually like their company and their information. So then you can know to use that information to find like their company Facebook page if you weren't familiar with it. Obviously to write them letters too. That also later we'll talk about like finding pictures online. You might need that information for that, but it just helps you so you can kind of look more and learn more and see more what's going on with that. Okay, so like my husband's address was their last name, comma, their first name, Anthony, GCO 1/48 INBN first platoon. So what that means is GCO, so Gulf Company. There's like Bravo, Alpha, there's a bunch of different ones. So that's their company name. And then first, so 1/48 is First Battalion, 48th Infantry Regiment. Sorry, double checking to make sure I'm saying it right. First platoon, there's three platoons, so first, second, and third platoon. So that's their information, which is a mouthful. If you don't know what it means, you can always look up like the abbreviations online. When I first looked up mine, that's what I had to do. I had to look up and I was like, what are these letters? I don't know what this means. Like I said, I'm new to military life. We have no experience with it. So that's what it means. Tip 5 that I wish I knew. Found the site basictrainingphotos.com, which was a cool site. It showed lots of different pictures of the soldiers in training, like when they did the gas mask, when they did like the confidence tower, the ropes course, like all these different training, first aid, just like map reading, all these different classes and training exercises they did. So I was able to look through the pictures on that site. For Fort Leonard Wood has it. I also wrote down, because I double checked the site, Fort Benning in Georgia has it, and Fort Jackson in South Carolina, and then Fort Leonard Wood in Missouri. So those three forts use the basictrainingphotos.com website. I'm sure the other ones, the other bases probably have similar sites. You might just need to look up or ask in a Facebook group like what the specific website is, but they should all have it. And then you get to see all these kind of candid, what's going on, pictures of your soldier in training while they're doing these different exercises, which I thought was super cool. And since, you can't really talk all the time, it's nice to feel like included and know what's going on in their life because otherwise you really don't. The 30-minute call once a week, it just goes so fast and it's just not enough time to talk about everything you want to talk about and hear about everything they're doing. So it's a cool way to just kind of see what's going on, see what they're up to, stay connected, stay as involved as you can in their training. Okay, so when you go to the basictrainingphotos.com, you're going to need a username, which is like an email and a password. It's free to join. So you just set it up. Then you're going to log on. It's going to bring you to a page that has like lots of different numbers and letters like A148, A210, B310, whatever, so on and so on. So it's just going to be like a long list of letters, like A through G paired with numbers. So this is where it's important that, and you can use the Sandbox app to get the information, or if you just know it, to know like their company, their battalion, things like that, because you're going to need to use that information on this site specifically to look up photos of your soldier in training. So that's just the way they organize the pictures. So, for example, my husband was Gulf Company, 1st Battalion, 48th Infantry Regiment, 1st Platoon. So that was his address and his like where he is. That's what he's in. So what I'm gonna look for then. So it's gonna be GCO 1/48 INBN. That's his like abbreviated address. So when I'm looking through the letters, I'm looking for G148. So that's what those letters and number combinations. So you'll find the company your soldier in training is in, followed with like their regiment, things like that. And then that will pair up, and that's how you will find where the file for their photos are. So click on that. So I click on G148, and that will bring me to another page. And on that page, it will be, for example, like it'd be G148 underscore 2020 1105. So what this number is is the graduation date of your soldier in training. So there'll be a couple, like there'll be like four, five, six, seven, how many ever there are. So there'll be a few of them on the page. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to figure out when your soldier is going to be graduating. It should be 10 weeks. Basic is 10 weeks. If you don't know the exact date they start, it's fine. Just guess what's 10 weeks and then pick the day closest to what you think their start date was, and that's probably it. So, for example, my husband was G148 underscore 2021 11 10 because he graduated November 10th from basic training. So, even though they won't have been graduated yet, that's where. So, you click on your first one, G148, or whatever your number is, click on the next one, which is their graduation date. And then once you get in there, it'll be a list. I think they have like up to 10 photos, like 10 files, excuse me, will be in there, and they'll be like 01, 02, 03, and with like a small like letter description of what it is. So you click on it, and then that will take you to all the pictures for that day's activities. The first picture is usually a picture of the date they were taken, and then you just scroll through. It's going to be everyone in the company, so it's not sorted by platoon and it's not sorted by specific soldiers or soldiers in training. So you do have to flick through the pictures. Sometimes it's a lot of pictures, but they should they should be there somewhere. Your soldier should be in there. Your soldier in training should be in there somewhere. You might not always find pictures of them. I know out of all the pictures, I may have found like 10 real good ones. I could tell it was my husband, and lots of like, maybe it's my husband. But in general, at least you can see what they're doing. It is hard once they have their gear, especially because a lot of times they're now wearing their face masks with COVID, or if they have like their gas masks on, or whatever training they're doing. They have all this gear on. It's really hard to start telling them apart, especially because all the guys have like buzzed heads. Because when you're in basic, when you first get there, especially, they just buzz it down real short. And then, as I said earlier, the grooming standard is to keep your hair much shorter than it would be in like AIT or after. So they all have very short hair, so it's really hard to tell them apart. But they should be in there. A tip I did find for me personally to help me find where my husband was in the pictures is on their shoulders, there'll be like a circle patch, color coded to the platoons. So it's going to be either red, blue, or black. And those stand for first, second, or third platoon. Now, each company, I can't tell you what color is what because each company assigns a different color per platoon. It's not red is not always first platoon, or blue isn't always, second platoon. So it does change per company. So you will have to find out what color your soldier is, or if you happen to see a picture and you know their platoon, which you should know from their address, the platoon should be listed, then you can at least figure out what platoon they are and just ask them, hey, what color is it? So when you're flipping through the pictures, my husband, for example, was first platoon. His little circle patch, it was right here on his arm, was red. So when I was looking through pictures, if it was a bunch of guys and girls with blue circles on their arm, I could kind of flip through those pictures kind of fast because he wasn't going to be in there. Because it is a little bit, they just like take them in order. So it's not 100% separated by platoon, or if they're mixed in, you won't. But a lot of times they do kind of one platoon at a time for the training. So sometimes the pictures are a little like sorted out. Not always. So sometimes it's all mixed together. But so that's a quick way. Or if you see someone, you're like, could this be my soldier? I'm not sure. Double check that patch on the shoulder. That at least could kind of help you to say, hey, this is at least the right platoon. I think this is them. So that's just a hint I would give you to help kind of see, if that's your soldier or not. I found it really exciting when I did finally find pictures of my husband. Like I said, I would go through hundreds of pictures before I found one. But it's kind of like a real life Where's Waldo? And it was like real exciting. Be like, hey, that's my husband doing the confidence tower. Hey, look at him doing this. And, it just made me really proud of him too, because it's one thing to hear kind of like in your head, imagine what, like when he's like, hey, this is what I did today. But when you actually see like some of the stuff, which a lot of it, to be honest, looks terrifying to me. I give him so much props, and all the men, women, everyone who does it, so much props because they're really facing their fears, really going out of their comfort zone to do these things. And it's so different when you can actually see like a picture of them doing that activity. It just makes it really real. And I just felt really proud and really excited to see those pictures. So it's definitely something, like I said, if you're from one of the forts that use this website, definitely check it out. If you're not, see if there's something similar for your fort that your soldiers training at, because I'm sure there is something similar, and it's just really cool. So it's just something you're going to really want to see because it's really special. Another website that Fort Leonard Wood partnered up with is platoontees.com. Again, I think that one's just specific for Fort Leonard Wood. I'm sure there's similar stuff for the other training bases though, so definitely reach out, try to get that information via Facebook, or if you know someone, or even ask your soldier in training. They might have more knowledge on it at maybe not right away, but as it's getting closer to their graduation, they're probably getting more and more information about like these different sites and different things available to them. Anyway, platoontees.com was a cool site, so you can order like shirts that are like Army, like 1%, or hats, or pants. You could order garment bags that are like customized for like if they're in the military, police, or engineering, or the chemical brigade, different things like that. Different shirts, like I said, themed. You could order like proud mom of, or proud husband of, or proud wife of my soldier, things like that, shirts like that, cups, souvenirs, flags for in your yard. So they offered lots of different things. One of the cool things that they did offer was specifically a customized platoon t-shirt. I have one right here to show you. So this is my husband's platoon. He was Gulf Company, which are the Griffins. So that's like their little logo. So within the company, like I said, there's 3 platoons. Each platoon also has like a mascot. So they were the Slayers. First platoon was the Slayers. So the company's the Griffins. Their platoon was the Slayers. So that's why it says Slayers here. Then on the back, has like the flag on the arm. On the back, it says Slayers again. Has like their quotes. And then this is cool because down here, it's hard to see, but it actually has all the last names of the soldiers in training that were in the platoon. So my husband is on here. Let's see, right here, that's Ernst. That's us. So this is cool. This is a custom thing. You can, like I said, order this one from the platoontees.com for Fort Leonard Wood. I'm not sure what, like I said, the other ones are. But yeah, so you can order like cool things like this. Another thing that he ordered through that platoon t-shirt, which is very similar, is this plaque. So as you can see, it's very similar to like the back of the shirt on the bottom. Sorry, there's a glare. It has like all the names of the training soldiers that they're with. So this is just, and then it just like mounts on the wall like that, so you can like hang it up because you're obviously proud of all their hard work and stuff. So that's cool. And then and this is like a hoodie he ordered from that website as well. So and this is just an example. There's tons of, it's just like a green hoodie with like some designs on it. There's other stuff though. Like I said, he ordered a hat. He ordered like jogging pants. He ordered like a lot of stuff. That's just stuff that was right in the closet that I could grab out real quick to show you. So another cool thing besides like the website for the pictures and like the shirts specifically, um, they'll actually have vendors come to like the base and talk to the soldiers for different things they can order. Now, keep in mind this is like third-party vendors, so it's not owned by the Army. It's just different groups and different companies the Army partners up with to sell different types of like keepsakes and memorabilia, things like that for their time there, which I thought was really cool. For example, the platoon tees, I knew about it from just like looking online, but they actually came by like my husband while he was still at Fort Leonard Wood training, and like he picked like the hoodie and like the plaque, things like that. He ordered all that, and the platoon shirt. He ordered all that on his own. So they had that. They had like family crests, which was a company that would look up like your family crest and mount it and frame it for you. There was people like who would sell like class rings, like kind of like you get in like college or high school, but like for the army class, so you could get like a ring with like a gem or like a design on it. There were people selling yearbooks, which I have here. So this is like a yearbook you could order. It literally looks like a school yearbook. You open it up, it has like officers in it that work at Fort Leonard Wood. It has like pictures of, oh, actually, that's my husband right there. Pictures of like different training. These are pictures that were on that basictrainingphoto.com website I mentioned. Pictures of like the base, like these are just buildings on the base, which we visited, which was cool. Some more, like I said, different training pictures. Trying to look. And then at some point, train, where is it? In the front, like you can see people find it. But yeah, so it's real cool. It's just like, oh, here's like the drill sergeants that they worked with, and then here's like literally just like all the people that graduated with them. So it's their pictures, their names, all that. So I just thought that was really cool. That's something, and I want to say it was like 40 bucks ish to order this. When they get there in reception, they will take pictures and they'll have options to buy photo packages, which I've got those. Hold on, sorry. So they get one in their normal outfit. Sorry, trying not to get a glare. So that's that. And then I just obviously bought the frame for it. Then this is another one. Like these are the two styles of the pictures they got, like one in their dress uniform. And then the packages, I want to say again, were like maybe 50, 60 bucks, but come with like a couple 8x10s, 4x6s, 5x7s, and wallets, and like a lot of them. So you get that. And then this is another picture he chose to order, which was a separate photo package, which I want to say was like 20 or 30 bucks. And this is the picture of his, this is his platoon. So, or is this his company? No, this is his platoon. Sorry. I had to double check. So this is just a picture of his platoon. So this is the Gulf Company First Platoon, and he's somewhere up here. I don't know exactly right now, but somewhere up there. So then I got this framed, and we're gonna hang him up on the wall once we get to our base. So that's like a cool thing. Another thing he got in his picture package was this. So it plays like on your computer or something, or maybe in a DVD player. I didn't try that, but on my computer it plays, and then it's just like a bunch of different pictures. A lot of the pictures are in the yearbook, a lot of the pictures are on that basictrainingphotos.com, but there are some other ones in here, so that's just cool. Another thing that like you can get, so that's cool. But anyway, I just wanted to point that out, that there's different, and there's probably even other things I don't know about. Those are just the things that I know he bought and things he told me about. But I also want to mention that don't feel like you or your soldier in training have to buy everything. Like, there's going to be lots of vendors. They're going to be trying to sell you things. Keep in mind, it's third party, so they're trying to make money. Now, I'm not saying the stuff isn't cool. I'm not saying don't get it if you like it, but don't feel obligated. You don't have to have every single thing. If you don't want a class ring, don't get a class ring. For example, the name plaque for your family plaque, so it's like a crest of your family, and then they frame it. That was like 300 some dollars for it. Yeah, it looked cool. For us personally, it wasn't worth $300. Maybe for you or your soldier in training it is, but I'm just saying don't feel like you have to buy everything they're selling, because for us it wasn't worth $300 for that. Or like a class ring. My husband doesn't wear rings besides his wedding ring. It wasn't worth spending 100 some dollars on that. But like me personally, I love the pictures. Told him buy every picture package you can. I want all the pictures, so he bought all that. Yearbook I thought was super cool because I had him sign it. So anyway, all I'm saying is there's lots of things they're going to try to sell you. You don't need it all. You can get it all, but you don't need it all. But be aware some of it is kind of expensive. So just be aware of that, because they will actually not make you pay like when you order it. You're gonna pay like right before graduation. My husband paid, I think, like 2 days before he graduated. He had to like pay all these things that he ordered off, which is fine. But I'm just saying they might not take the money right away. Make sure if that's something you want, you have the money in your account, because they're gonna come for you and they want the money from you. So make sure you have the money and you're ready to pay it on. Like they're ready to pay it on their end. Something else I thought was cool too is like that Platoon Tees website. They actually had a store on base, so you could order stuff online and pick it up at the store. Or if like your soldier in training, they didn't realize or they didn't order like a custom platoon tee, you can actually go to that store on base and on Fort Leonard Wood and buy one. Or like the plaques, they have pre-made plaques there too. So, and I'm sure other bases have something similar. So if you didn't order something or you want to order something, same with the pictures. If your soldier in training didn't order the pictures, you can usually reach out to the photography company that does the pictures and place that order in. So don't feel like you missed out. You probably still can get the stuff. You just have to find the specifics for who, like what companies, who partners with the base that your soldier in training is training at. But that for Fort Leonard Wood, that's the Fort Leonard Wood information at least. So those are some sites to use if you are on Fort Leonard Wood and get access to some of those cool things. Okay, tip number 8, Sunday calls. So this is a post-COVID thing. I heard before COVID that they actually didn't do the Sunday calls, but now they are with COVID. So since COVID happened, so every Sunday your soldier in training will get to call you for roughly 30 minutes. The only exception is if they're in some kind of training thing that they can't, which usually they don't do big training things on the weekends, but if for some reason they are, or if someone in their platoon or company broke a rule and they're being punished. I know one weekend my husband wasn't allowed to call because someone else was not listening to orders correctly, and as punishment, everyone got their phone time taken away, which really sucks. So that can happen, but most of the time, Sundays, you will get a half-hour call. The times vary. Sometimes my husband will call at like 1, sometimes it wouldn't be till like 7 or 8 at night. Um, in general, it's usually after lunchtime and it's usually before 9 because lights out are like by 9:30. So again, that's just in general. It can be kind of anywhere. There can be exceptions. I'm not saying that's not true, but just so you know, usually Sundays you get a 30-minute call, which is super exciting. It's really helpful to reconnect. It's really great to hear their voice, especially after they've been gone for multiple weeks. It's like just a good opportunity to refuel that energy and reconnect and dive into the next week of training for them. So I like the 30-minute calls personally. My husband didn't love writing while he was there. By the end of the day, he was too tired. He didn't want to lay in bed and write. He was just wiped out. So he did write a couple times, but I didn't get that many notes from him, which is fine. So we would use those 30-minute calls. I'd ask him to tell me about his training. I'd tell him what's going on with the kids. I'd tell him, if there's anything like going on in our life or, when there was hiccups with our deers paperwork, things like that, we would talk about. For me personally, what I like to do, and this is maybe like a little hint or tip for you, I would write down throughout the week all the things that I wanted to talk about, like questions I wanted to ask, or things I wanted him to know that like our kids did, or that I did, or whatever, something that I just wanted to tell him, something that was exciting going on around here, and I would write them down throughout the week. And then on Saturday, what I would do is I go through and I would number, hey, this is the most important one, this one, this one, this one. Because when you get on that call, you only have 30 minutes. It's going to feel like 5 minutes. They're going to tell you whatever they want to talk to you about. And also, you're going to have 10 minutes left and you're going to have so many things you want to say. So for me personally, I liked making a list and then I could just be like, this is the most important thing. No matter what, I'm going to make sure I tell them this thing today. And if I don't get to number 6, well, it's not really that important. I can write a letter about that. So that's what I personally would do to kind of help me manage my time or organize my thoughts. Also because if, for me personally, if you call, I'd be excited and I'd completely forget to tell him whatever thing I needed to tell him or wanted to tell him really bad. Or if it was something important, especially because then you're waiting a whole week before you can talk to him. Yeah, you can write him letters, but even that too takes a while to get there. And sometimes you just want him to know right away. So that's a tip I do, something that worked for me. Make a list of all the things you want to talk about, number it to importance, so you prioritize talking about the things you want to talk about, and letting them know the things you want to let them know. Tip number 9. So I found it really helpful to keep kind of like a journal or a diary while my husband was gone in basic, especially basic, because for me it was a really emotional time. Like I said, we were together 6.5 years at this point. We've never really been apart. We have 2 young kids, and just like the stress of the transition, getting used to him not being here, all that. It was just a lot. And, it's going to be hard, but you don't really know until you start going through. So for me, I like to keep a journal. There were days, especially, where I was just overwhelmed or felt burnt out or just really sad and missing him. And I would just write it all in the journal. And that really helped me kind of organize my thoughts and it helped me feel better, kind of to purge all that negativity and just get it out. And then for me personally, it made it nice. So when he did call on Sunday, I wasn't just like, oh, I miss you. I'm so sad. I'm miserable. Like, you want to have a nice conversation. You want to keep it as upbeat, obviously be real with them. But, every call you don't want to be sad and crying or miserable. Like, they need that call just as much as you to refuel because it's hard on them being gone and separated. They're having cultural shock on their end because their entire life just changed. They're missing their family, they're missing their friends, they're missing just being a normal person and not having rules because everything's so structured for them. So for me, I found that very helpful just to kind of clear my own head, make myself feel better, recenter myself, and then also prioritize when we did call or he called me and we got to talk, prioritize not just feeling upset and bad for myself or missing him, but being able to actually have good communication and genuine conversation, for those 30 minutes and making the most of it instead of just being like, I miss you so much, which don't get me wrong, I did. And I did tell him that a lot too. But then at least, I just felt like I was in a more positive headspace going into it and even just felt better throughout the week since he wasn't here for me. He's normally my person. I'd tell if I had a bad day or if something's going on or if I'm stressed out about something. Obviously, I didn't have him here to do that. So this at least gave me a spot where I could vent and release that frustration, release the negativity, and just feel better. And it really did help me personally. So that might be something that works for you. Otherwise having someone you can call, talk to. My mother-in-law would call me almost every day, if not every other day, but almost every day and talk, and we would cry and talk about how much we missed Anthony, my husband, her son. My mom would call and text me all the time just to chit chat. Friends would check in. My sister-in-laws would call and just to chit chat, not even necessarily talk about Anthony, but just like to talk, and keep your mind busy, which is really nice because then you can vent what's going on. You can just talk about, day-to-day life. Especially me being a stay-at-home mom, like I don't get to go to work and have those communications and those connections with people. So it was really nice, to have those people to connect with since Anthony wasn't here, my husband wasn't here, because he was usually the person I hang out with. He's my best friend. So it was just really nice, and I really appreciated that. So, the journal or having people you can talk to or Facebook groups or, just a dog, anything, anyone you can really connect to and just kind of relieve some of that tension, some of that stress, some of the sadness, and just feel like better about the situation. Tip number 10. This isn't a tip, more so just like an FYI. So everyone said, when your husband leaves, it's going to be so hard. You're going to be so sad. And for me, I was a little cocky. My husband worked second shift before he enlisted. So he would be gone from like 1 in the afternoon and come home at like, 10, 11. I'd already be in bed, so I would wake up early with the kids, take them to school. So we really didn't see each other but a couple hours in the morning and then the weekend. So I was kind of used to him being gone a lot. So I went into this like, I got this. I'm used to doing it all. I'm used to being by myself most of the day. What I didn't realize though is it's completely different. And it's different in lots of ways because one, even though we only had a couple hours in the morning and the weekend to connect, we did have time to connect. Obviously, him being gone, we didn't have that time anymore. Things like helping with the kids, especially the weekends, when he was home more, helping with making dinner or helping doing dishes, things like that. Like, obviously, he was no longer here. It was so much harder than I could have imagined just because it felt very overwhelming. It felt like being a single parent, honestly, and it's a lot. Props to single parents who do it every day because it is hard. I'm so excited for him to come back because I'm not loving the single parent life that I'm living right now. But, that was kind of a shock to me. I thought it would be a lot easier transition than it was, and it was hard. Another thing that I found surprising, like hard and surprising in a different way, is I felt a lot more emotional when he was gone in ways that I didn't think I would. Like, obviously, I knew I was going to miss him and I wish he was here and things like that. But as his training went on, and I saw pictures of him, or he would talk about the buddies he was making, or like the activities, the adventures he was having, and just whatever was going on in his life, I kind of felt more and more sad. Like I felt like he had this whole new life that didn't include me. For me, it was very confusing being on the outside. The Army loves acronyms. He talked in acronyms that were confusing to me. He talked about things that I didn't know what it meant or like, what it was. And I just felt really excluded. And obviously, it's not his fault, or anything. I'm not mad at him for it, or I wasn't mad at him for it, but I just felt really sad. Like, I just felt like he had this new, exciting, fun life, and he's, doing all these cool things and all these new things and learning and growing so much. I just felt really left out. And I didn't know I was going to feel like that. And it was hard because it just felt like, oh, wow, look at him living this new life without me. And I'm just sitting here sad all the time. And, it was really hard. So that's something that maybe people didn't tell you or you don't know might happen. And maybe it won't happen. Maybe that was just me. But it did happen for me. And I did feel really left out and felt like his life was moving on and I wasn't a part of it, and that's hard when it's your husband or a loved one or, a family member. It doesn't matter whoever your soldier in training is. It's hard, and I know there was lots of times I cried at home because I just felt like really like, who are you? I don't even know who you are anymore. And like, I don't know what's going on in your life. Like, I don't know anything anymore. Like, I just miss you. And, we did have a lot of opportunities to have some heartfelt conversations on Sundays, and he knew how I was feeling, and he was real supportive of it, and basically just reassured me, this is going to be the worst, just push through it. AIT is going to be better. You get more phone time. Push through it. We'll be on base together soon. And he was right. But in the time as it was happening, and just like that lack of communication and not being able to see each other, it is really hard, and it takes its toll on you as you're getting deeper and deeper into the weeks. And by 10 weeks, when it was time for family day and graduation, like I was ready to see him, but just it can be hard emotionally in different ways than maybe you're expecting. Maybe not like that, but maybe other ways you'll feel emotional in ways you might not have thought, and that's okay. It's normal. Again, find people you can connect with or groups you can connect with. Write it down, and know that it's only temporary. Things will be good. As soon as you get through it, basic is hard on them. It's hard on families and loved ones, but you will be okay. You will get through it. It will be okay. And it's okay to be a little emotional, and it's okay if it's hard. They're learning and growing, and you're learning, you're growing, you're learning to adapt to this new lifestyle, and you'll get there. And I feel like looking back, like it was hard, but looking back, I feel like I'm in such a better place now, and I grew so much from that. And my husband as well has grown and learned so much already from that. So I'm really grateful for it. Although during it, it was miserable and I did not feel grateful for it. And I was very upset. So, but no, it does get better. It does get better. Another tip I wanted to add is that pairs along with like phone calls and stuff is make sure you keep busy. I know Sunday calls are super exciting. I personally would clear my schedule on Sundays, tell everyone I'm staying home, I'm not doing anything because I didn't know what time he'd be calling. I wanted to be there to get the call and make sure I had my notebook with my list of things I wanted to talk about ready for him. So that's all good and fine, but make sure when it's not Sunday, especially, you are having a life. Like, don't shut down. Don't make your whole world revolve just on that Sunday call, even though it's tempting. Make sure you're going out and hanging out with friends or loved ones or doing hobbies. Find something you love. Live outside of just the phone call. It's really important to do that, even though the phone calls are super important too. And I know you need them and want them, and you need that connection. But don't just live for the call, because you'll be sad. Your days are going to go so slow if that's all you're doing is just waiting for the phone call every week. Don't feel bad to go out and have fun and live your life and find something you enjoy, a book, a movie, whatever, just something to take your mind off of everything and just to escape for a little bit. And again, connect with people. That really helped me. Connect on Facebook. That was a really good resource, things like that. And enjoy your phone calls, though. Don't get me wrong, enjoy your phone calls, but make sure you have other things to look forward to and get you through each day, because that will help the days go fast. It really will, because the 10 weeks felt slow, but as soon as I was standing at Fort Leonard Wood looking back on graduation day, I was like, you know what? Those 10 weeks really did go by pretty fast. So it will seem slow, it might seem hard, but it will go fast looking back. You'll be like, okay, I got this. It wasn't that bad. I feel like a stronger person for doing it. So just make sure you're living for something besides the phone call. I just wanted to mention, in case you didn't know, vacation days are earned 2.5 vacation days a month. So later on in their career, when they want to take time off or something like that, and it does start accumulating as soon as they leave for basic, every month, 2.5 days will have been earned. So before you can have time off or vacation time, you have to have earned the time leave, like their leave time first. If they don't have the leave time, they won't be approved for more time off than leave days, if that makes sense what I'm trying to say. So that's important to know, just for as you are planning after or something you want to do, that's how that works. There is an option where they can sell their leave days back to the Army for money. I personally would say just save them up, because who knows what you're going to want to do. If you're going to want to, if you're active, especially if you're going to want to come back to your home state or go on vacation, I'm sure once you get on base, there'll be lots of things you want to go and explore. But just so you know, that's how it works. The exception is for HBL, which we just went through. On HBL, if your soldier is in training through basic or AIT, and they haven't accumulated the 10 days, I believe it is 2 weeks, 10 days of vacation time. They will basically loan you the days. You won't have to have all the days. You can still go on your HBL. I'm pretty sure all training soldiers don't have a choice. They have to go on HBL. And then as you come back and you're earning more days off, you will just owe the Army those days. So instead of accumulating those days, they'll just take them off right away until those 10 days are paid up. So that's a little bit how HBL works, which, like I said, we just went through because right now it is January. So but yeah, so that's just a little bit on the vacation days, just touching on that, which I didn't know and now I do know, so I'm glad for that. I found something I enjoy doing, and obviously this won't be for everyone, but I thought it was really cool. I tried to scrapbook a lot of, um, the training that he was doing, or, document different phone calls, like what we talked about, especially when I actually went to Fort Leonard Wood for Family Day and graduation, all that stuff. So that's something you don't have to do, but I thought was really cool to just kind of have documentation. And I personally did a scrapbook form, but you could do it however you want, like just write it down in a journal, or take pictures, or I mean, not at all. It's up to you, but I thought that was something that was cool for like kind of a DIY keepsake that you can look back at, in a few years, or 10 years, 20 years, however long their military career is, or, whatever, show the kids or show your friends, loved ones, whatever. So that's just something I thought was cool that you might be thinking, hey, that might be something I want to try. Um, Holdover. So I just wanted to talk about holdover for a minute because I did not know what holdover was until we experienced it. So holdover is when your soldier in training, they finish like their basic training and they're going to AIT. Most people will trade bases. Some people stay at the same base. Like Anthony, he stayed at Fort Leonard Wood. So he went to AIT. They moved locations at Fort Leonard Wood, but he stayed on the same base. So when he got to his new company to start AIT, they did not have enough people ready for the class because this class, I think he says, about 150 people. So there was like 20 of them. And so they were waiting for people to come from other bases to come and join them because AIT is more, they're separated more into their MOS because it's very schoolwork, more so related to learn how to do the actual jobs they're going to be doing in the military, whether that's reserves or active, whatever their career path is, that's what they're going to be focusing on. They might learn other stuff too, but that's going to be the main focus, is like what they need to know to be successful at their jobs in the Army. So when he got there, there's only like 20 of them. It's not enough for a class. They need about 150 of them. So he was in holdover. So holdover is they put him in like a different sleeping area and they have to wait basically until there's enough people to start the class. So, and this can happen if there's too many people assigned a class. You might have to be in holdover until the next class. But that's what happened with him. There wasn't enough. So he actually was on holdover from mid-November to January 10th. So for about 8 weeks, he was on holdover. And that sucked. It does not count towards time. It counts for time served, but it doesn't count for his like training. So he actually would have been done right around now with AIT if he wasn't in holdover. But now he's only in like the first couple weeks of AIT because his holdover. And we double whammy because it was during the HBL, which is holiday block leave, which is like Christmas break basically for the Army. So because of that, and you get 2 weeks for that, because it was during that, he had to wait till his class filled up, and then after HBL, so after those 2 weeks, and then he got to start his AIT training. So holdover can happen. That's usually, it can happen to anyone for any reason. And that's just what it is. There's just not enough people in the class yet. They're waiting for a class to build, like to fill up. It can be a couple weeks, it could be a couple months. So he had a friend that was in holdover for 4 months. So I don't know how they decide, um, you know, but mostly they're just waiting for people from other forts to come there, or for to send their people to different forts and to different bases to do their training. So that's something I didn't know about. It added, like I said, 2 months to his overall training time. It's going to have added because, he wasn't training during that. Like he did some PT and like they did cleaning, things like that, but he wasn't actively doing his AIT training during the holdover time. So just so you know, that is a possibility that can happen. That's something I wish I would have known because I did not account for those days at all. I didn't even know it was a possibility. So it was very upsetting when I found out, very shocking, especially because when holdover started for my husband, we didn't know how long it was going to last until a couple weeks in. And then they're like, no, it's going to be January 10th. It's going to be their start date. So going in, we didn't know. So your soldier, by this time, they'll be considered soldiers because once they graduate basic, they're considered soldiers, full-on soldiers. Your soldier may or may not know how long they're in holdover. So, just keep that in mind. Don't be upset. They don't always have that information. It just depends once there's enough other soldiers for their class to start. And like I said, about 150, I think, is the standard size. I hope this video gave you lots of information and tips and tricks to make the transition into MilSpouse or MilFamily life easier for you. I know these help me alleviate lots of anxiety and stress in my life. Hope it really helps you out. If you know any other tips or tricks, leave them in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think or what you did to help you. Like and subscribe for more videos. Otherwise, I'll see you next time. Bye.